Nearly all cases in the pantheon of true crime have a degree of predictability, of planning, of escalation in an all roads lead to murder kind of way. Victims of serial killers don't see it coming, but the killers do. Victims of stalking are often aware of an escalation leading to horrifying consequences. Crimes of passion often also escalate, albeit very, very quickly and in the moment. Perhaps the rarest of murders are those that come completely from left field and seem to happen apropos of nothing. Today's case is one of those, and is all the more tragic because the victim was a child. It highlights the consequences of not treating mental health issues and shines a light on failures within systems meant to protect people. And by that I mean both the sufferers of mental health issues and of course of those around them. This is the discomforting, shocking and discombobulating case of the murder of 7-year-old Emily Jones. And this is Murder of Crows. Emily Grace Jones was born in Bolton on the 18th of January 2013, and from the word go she was just a treasure. Born to white-collar workers Mark Jones and Sarah Barnes, who were a credit manager and solicitor respectively. She was the kind of child any parent could want. She was described as kind, energetic, and with an infectious personality. And she brought light and joy into the lives of her parents. By March of 2020, she was a 7-year-old pocket rocket with a giant smile that would spread to anyone who saw it. She was a joy to be around and loved playing on her scooter. In fact, on Mother's Day, which was March the 22nd, 2020, she made sure to take her scooter when her dad took her to nearby Queen's Park. Dad Mark chose this park as it was normally where Emily's mum, Sarah, would go jogging. A nice surprise for Sarah for Mother's Day, since the couple were now separated. And a chance for Emily to ride her scooter without having to worry about traffic racing by. So a lovely day for everyone, really. You would hope so, anyway. But the very fact that I'm telling this story should be a clue that things probably weren't going to end up lovely. When they got to the park, Emily was enjoying playing on her scooter alongside her dad, when she saw off in the distance the distinct figure of her mother jogging through the park. Really excited to see her mother, she asked her dad if she could go a short distance across the park on the scooter to intercept her mother. Now, Mark had no reservations, since he would be able to see his little girl for the whole time until she met up with her mother. So he happily let her go. As she was on her way across the park, just after passing a bench to the side of the path, Emily seemed to fall, and a woman who'd been on the bench appeared to be helping her. That's what you would think. That's what anyone would think in a park in daylight on a Sunday morning. But as Mark got nearer to his daughter, he saw what appeared to be blood coming from somewhere on her neck. The woman who had been helping Emily had very quickly left the scene, where Emily was still on the ground. Now, the woman was very soon followed by an eyewitness called Tony Canty, who managed to restrain the woman, who was heard to say very strangely, "She tried to kill me." And while the woman was being restrained and detained until law enforcement could arrive, Emily was being rushed to Salford Royal Hospital. She was ultimately pronounced dead at 15:54, which is 3:54 p.m. And the coroner later said that, "In my 20 years as a coroner, this is one of the most tragic deaths I have dealt with." So in a matter of moments, a perfectly normal Sunday morning at the park had become an unimaginable tragedy. It seemed that the woman on the bench had seen the little girl approaching on her scooter, and out of nowhere had slashed at the girl's throat with a craft knife. As the woman was arrested and an investigation started, it soon became clear that the woman was not known to either of Emily's parents, so was a complete stranger to Emily and her family. The woman's apprehension and arrest was caught on police body cam, which we can see here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The officer's getting hands.
Turn over.
Take the bag down.
Wait. Let me take your bag off. Yes. Stay still. Okay.
Hands behind your back.
Thank you. Have you seen a child anywhere?
Yeah, she's down here, she thinks.
Is she on her own?
No, everyone's with her, the ambulance is just gone.
Right. The child's down there.
Get down there quick.
The ID for Sheila.
Yes, it's in my bag. Everything. What is?
In my bag, ID, everything.
28016. Go ahead.
This female is now in cuffs. She said there's an ID in her backpack, which is by the side of her backpack.
What's in your backpack?
ID and everything.
ID?
Yes, and the knife.
And a knife.
And a knife. 15. That's second kilo.
Yeah, turn it out.
15.
Right, the time now is 14:45. At this moment in time, you're under arrest on suspicion of attempted murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may be defensive. You do not mention something when questioned that you later rely in court, and if you do so, may be given evidence. Okay? Your arrest is necessary to protect vulnerable people and to ensure a prompt and effective investigation to this offence.
Yeah.
Okay? What's your name?
El Jonas Corner. El Jonas Corner.
Okay. Where do you live? Right, just wait there. Just confirm to you, what's inside your bag?
You can control. It's just no bumps, no nothing.
No
It's just
bumps.
my ID card.
ID card.
In my mom's ID card.
Yeah.
There is a knife, some water, some juice.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, that's it. So there's
That's
nothing
it.
nothing that's going to
Nothing
harm
in
me,
the
no?
bag. No.
Okay.
Due to early investigations and the woman's presentation, the Albanian woman identified as Eltiona Skana was detained under the Mental Health Act and held in a high security facility. As the investigation progressed, further CCTV evidence of Skana in the area before the attack was found. The fact that Skana was detained under the Mental Health Act obviously prompted questions about Skana's history, if one existed, around her mental health, and any interventions there had been prior to March the 22nd, 2020. Additionally, as more and more information about her heritage and home country came out, there were questions about the woman's status in the UK and whether she was in the country legally or not. So the utter tragedy was compounded by public outrage around Skana's potential immigration status and indeed mental health. Grief turned to anger with the media and the public demanding answers. Public outrage was certainly a factor that led to a very quick progression from being charged with murder as well as possession of a bladed article to a plea and trial preparation hearing which took place on the 5th of October. Appearing via a video link from Rampton Secure Hospital, Skana did not speak at the October hearing, and her barrister asked that the arraignment happen at a later date. Presiding Judge Mr. Justice Henshaw adjourned the proceedings until the 6th of November. At the November hearing, Skana denied the charge of murder but pled guilty to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. An adjournment of the hearing for 7 days was requested to give the prosecution time to consider the manslaughter plea. Justice Henshaw granted the adjournment, leading to a trial that began on the 26th of November 2020 at Minshall Street, Crown Court. Ahead of the trial, more was discovered and released about Eltiona Skarna, including Skarna's leave to remain in the UK at the time of the attack on Emily. Eltiona Skarna was born on the 24th of February 1990 and was originally from Albania. She married in February 2012 and moved to Kuwait, but returned to Albania in September of 2013. She then left Albania again and went to Germany, where her sister arranged for an agent to transport Skarna across Europe through Italy and France and smuggle her into the United Kingdom on a lorry. Skarna claimed asylum upon her arrival in the United Kingdom on the 13th of August 2014. Her asylum application was initially refused in June of 2018, but this decision was overturned following an appeal, and she was given a residency permit lasting until November 2020 and leave to remain until 2024. However, Skarna later admitted to lying on her asylum application by falsely claiming that she was a victim of human trafficking. At the time of her arrest, Skarna was unemployed and lived in a flat in Bolton. Just 7 months after her arrival in England, a doctor assessed her as suffering from PTSD, but she did not attend a planned cognitive behavioural therapy session, and as a result her case was closed. In July of 2015 she was sectioned for the first time under the Mental Health Act at the Royal Bolton Hospital. Her sister had called the police after Skarna became distressed and picked up a knife, claiming she feared she was going to be killed by unknown people. At that time, Skarna told doctors that her neighbours were plotting to harm her using electricity, and she could feel it burning in her body and made threats to injure them. During her stay in hospital, she was granted leave from the ward several times, but would run off and had to be returned by the police. When she refused to take oral medication, she was given depot injections, which is a slow-release form of antipsychotic medication that can last up to a couple of months at a time. And this at least ensured that she was receiving the necessary medication. She was eventually released back into the community on August the 20th, and over the next 5 years she was given injections. Although when she complained the side effects were making her unwell, she was trusted to take the medication orally. This inevitably led to a relapse when she did not take the medication. On February the 12th, 2017, Skarna was arrested by police and sectioned again after attacking her own mother. She began shouting that when she killed her mother, then everything would be okay. Skarna hit her mother over the head with an iron and stabbed her in the hand before a friend managed to intervene. At this point, it was found that Skarna had disconnected the electricity to the boiler, had removed light bulbs, and thrown away her television, which she claimed she could hear her neighbours' voices through. After being sectioned, Skarna again left the hospital without leave and was taken back to hospital by police. And there she remained with periods of leave until discharge on May the 4th, 2017. The community mental health team kept in touch with Skarna, but she generally reported that she did not have psychotic symptoms, and her paranoia could be managed with support from her family and avoiding busy places and eye contact. Psychiatrists who examined her after her most recent arrest agreed that she had paranoid schizophrenia. At the trial, Skarna's mental health history was laid bare, but with the prosecution and defence experts in agreement around the diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, the judge's hands were effectively tied, and he ordered the jury to clear Skarna of murder. So she was ultimately convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to a minimum term of 8 years.
Breaking news: and a woman who killed 7-year-old Emily Jones in a park in Bolton in March has been sentenced to life in prison. Gerard Tubbs outside the court in Manchester, and she's going to be held in a secure hospital, Gerard.
Yes, this is a truly appalling case, a really sad story. Emily, you may remember, Mothering Sunday this year, just before full lockdown, had gone with her father, Mark, to Queen's Park in Bolton. And Emily's mum, Sarah, was going for a jog there. They'd gone along to see her, and Emily had seen her mum and had asked her dad if she could scoot her off down to meet her. He said yes. She went off calling to her mother, but unknown to any of them, a 30-year-old Albanian, Eltiana Skarna, who was a paranoid schizophrenic who should have been taking medicine for that and hadn't been, was sitting on a bench, and Emily scooted past her. Skarna jumped up. She had bought a craft knife in a shop, and she slit her throat and killed Emily. And she was arrested, and she obviously admitted it. She has been in custody, needless to say, since. We heard from her father in court in an impact statement read out, describing Emily as the beat of her parents' hearts, the skip in their step. And the judge sentenced her, as you say, to be detained under Section 45A of the Mental Health Act. She has been imprisoned for life with a minimum of 8 years, but she will initially be treated at Rampton High Security Hospital. If she's deemed well enough to leave there, she will go on to serve the rest of her sentence in hospital. The judge said she had to be punished because she had made the decision to buy the knife. She had made the decision to kill someone. There was an element of culpability in her actions. Most of her family, many of her family members were in court, including her father, but they didn't say anything. They left with the judge's words ringing in their ears at the end of the sentencing hearing, saying that they had conducted themselves with dignity.
She was to be confined in hospital unless her condition allowed a transfer to a normal prison. But if her condition was to remain the same, she would remain in hospital indefinitely. This is what's called a hybrid order, which accounts for changes in people's mental health. On the 21st of January 2021, her minimum term was increased to 10 years and 8 months, with the presiding judge saying that the original minimum term had been calculated in error. Now, Skarna appealed the length of the sentence in February of 2022, but her appeal, which Skarna attended via video link from Rampton, where she is being held, her appeal was rejected at the Court of Appeal by 3 senior judges. An inquest into the death of Emily Jones was concluded in May of this year, 2023. Senior coroner Timothy Brennan said the outcome could have been different if Skarna did not become non-concordant with the drugs. But he suggested that the attack was not predictable or preventable with anything other than hindsight. He said, "I do not consider the behaviour of Skarna in the sense of perpetrating a stranger homicide on March the 22nd, 2020, could have been or should have been predicted by the community mental health team. Accordingly, it's only with the benefit of hindsight that the death might have been prevented." The evidence in this case has been an insight into an area of healthcare provision that is challenging and, in my view, riven with stress and tension. I sense a healthcare sector in crisis. Recording a conclusion of unlawful killing, Mr. Brennan also said, "My concern is that in the event that Skarna is ever discharged from detention and released into the community, she poses a significant safeguarding risk to those living with or near her, and to young children in particular. Finally, to Emily's family, all I can say is how truly sorry I am for your loss." So here we had an attack that could not have been predicted or prevented, which I agree with. but it does not make it any less of a tragedy or reduce the grief and suffering that it caused. The unlawful death of a child is always angering, hurtful, and profoundly saddening. You don't get to see the person the child could have become. But Emily had already shown the world that she was kind, sweet, and friendly. So she was well set to grow into a pro-social person with all the qualities you would want to see in a person. This was an absolute tragedy, and I send much love to all of those affected by this terrible, terrible loss. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. All subscriptions and likes are very gratefully received. But with that said, I'm Steve, this here is Samson, and we will see you when we see you.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it. You say that